Welcome to the solo Final Fantasy XIV challenge. This is solo only, and from the very beginning, we have clawed our way past some of the most difficult fights this game can offer, all while never using the market board, parties, or NPC support, and using level sync or silence echo whenever it's possible. Again and again, I've been told this was impossible, but no matter how hard it got, we've always prevailed. And now, standing on the other side of the impossible trial, Susano, it's time to move forward towards our final goal, Endwalker. Maybe something stops us before then, brings this whole thing crashing down, but until we see that with our own hands, we continue down this long, winding road to whatever impossible wall comes next. After all this time, 3 years, 1,000 hours, we've reached the final Great Wall. Crystal Tower, Susano, Hades, and the Seat of Sacrifice. Today, it ends. Hades has fallen. Before us stands 3 dungeons and 28 quests. The Grand Cosmos, Anamnesis Enider, and the Hero's Gauntlet. All shall be rent asunder to carve a path towards our true goal, the Seat of Sacrifice, and our destined battle with the Warrior of Light. We're now in the post-patches. Major updates after the end of each expansion, meaning we're inching closer and closer to fights that expect the best possible gear from Shadowbringers. Our gear advantage is slipping, and even before this, we were losing dungeons to time. But that can be a problem for later. For now, we have some main story quests to complete. And while this guy runs around in the background, I have a very exciting announcement to make. For many years, I've told you all I hated soup, a great tragedy that some have never been able to forgive me for. And now, I'm here to right my wrongs. I bring you the very first piece of Wrath Games merchandise, Solo Soup. That's right, you can get your very own little guy from the New Guy Factory delivered straight to your door. Literally, it's newguyfactory.store. A shiny, fancy-dancy, definitely not legally edible Solo Soup pin. If you'd like to support what I do, or just get a new guy for your collection, now's your chance. Pre-orders begin today, June 27th, and run until July 18th. This first run will be locked in after that, so grab it now before it's too late. You don't want to leave them out in the cold, do you? Head on over to newguyfactory.store and grab your very own new guy today. Oh, and perfect timing. Questing is done, the Grand Cosmos is unlocked. Was it really this soon? And we can properly start our dungeon rush. Seeker of Solitude. Oh, SOS! We're finally here. You're right. Well, hello, over armor. Oh, this is one of those anime moments. There's no way I'll be able to handle this onslaught of enemies. There's one chance. There's one more thing I could do. Over armor, activate! No, you can't. Over armor will start to eat away at your very soul. If you do that, there's no going back. I don't care. If I don't do this now, the whole world will be destroyed. That's my audition for over armor. Thank you. I'm not referencing anything. I just made that up. 3 minutes for one group of enemies, and they're not dead yet. You will be my Agalol foe, and this will be your Final Fantasy. Yeah. With 90 minutes total to complete the dungeon, we're hoping for a maximum of 15 minutes to kill the adds and 10 minutes for the first and second boss. As of now, we're just about at the limit of that, and reach the first boss, the Seeker of Solitude, in 14.5 minutes. Seeker starts by summoning 5 brooms around the arena, 3 on one side and 2 on the other. Then, Shadowbolt, a tank buster, deals 17,000 damage. Immortal Anathema is a raid-wide dealing 3,500, and Tribulation, a chance for the brooms to serve their purpose. 5 puddles spawn around the arena, 1 in front of each broom. The brooms sweep their way forward, hitting anything in front of them, and once they reach their puddle, swinging out in a frenzy. Being hit by either of these provides a vulnerability up debuff. Afterwards, we're hit with Dark Pulse, a party stack dealing 9,000 damage through my shield, or 14,000 damage total. Darkwell drops an attack on our head, another 14,000 damage from Shadowbolt, and the brooms are sent out after us once again. This is the final cycle of mechanics. Okay, being in front of their path at all also hurts. Good thing to know. After the brooms, we have a Shadowbolt tank buster, immediately followed by a party stack. Our max health is 41,000, and in that moment, we have to tank nearly 30,000 damage within 10 seconds. This attempt, we died early enough that we might still be able to clear everything in time, so we give it one more shot, but the Secret of Solitude wasn't going to let us move on so easily. No! Oh, come on, man. After another failure, we need a new instance. There was no way there was enough time left. 15 more minutes spent killing the over-armor and weapons, just to fail once more. Ugh. That's a full restart, dude. The boss wasn't even all that difficult, or it shouldn't be, but the damage it dealt turned a regular fight into a marathon of health management. Healing up is easy, but having to tank 2 hits that deal 3/4 of my health every minute was something entirely different. Even if I did everything right, there was always a chance right at that moment to lose it all. Maybe I didn't crit heal as much as I needed. Maybe I hadn't used my mitigations right. One slip and it would all come crumbling down and send me back to the beginning. Again, I died fast enough here to try twice, so we get up once more. And finally break through. Okay, there we go. Much better. To clear a dungeon in time, we need to kill the first boss with 65 minutes left. As of now, we were 4 minutes behind, but that's time we can make back if the second boss is easy. Swatting a Sounder of Swine, we reach the second boss, Lianen Sith. Storm of Color is a tank buster dealing 13,000 damage. Ode to Lost Love is a raid-wide dealing 5,000, and Direct Seeding summons squares of grass around the arena. 4 seeds pop down onto the grass and need to be lifted and moved off of it. Any seed that's on grass when the Gardener's Hymn cast completes will grow into an ad, rushing over to attack us the moment they come to life. And their lives are short, ending in an explosion of toxins, slowing us down and poisoning us. The more stacks of poison we get, the more damage it deals. Then it's just a quick dance of dodging big yellow circles on the floor before direct seeding repeats, this time with a gust of wind from the east or west side of the arena. Same as before, but the seeds are pushed 1 square by the wind before the cast completes. Each stack of poison we get adds 1,000 damage every time it ticks away at our health, but this is the entire fight. Lianen has no truly dangerous mechanics, only ones that waste our time. She falls, and we rush towards the final stretch of the dungeon, 6 minutes behind schedule. I don't know if I should be doing this. I feel like I should multi-pull this. No, okay, if it has its own tank buster, fine. That broom gave me a heart attack. I thought there was a patrol coming. Is this Palace of the Dead, dude? And the first enemy we face in the last stretch is a mini-boss, the Draco statue, with its own tank buster and mechanics. Nothing too scary, though. Then, after another preposterous porcine predicament, we reach the last group of ads, the Knights Immortal. As if we were the mini-boss, and they the light party clearing the dungeon, they shred through my health without any care or consideration. This set of enemies is, without doubt in my mind, one of, if not the strongest single pull of ads in any dungeon we've faced. I'm gonna die. There's no way I live. Come on, dude, what a crazy pull! Are you kidding me? To get past them, we need to kill them off one by one and accept any deaths along the way. This very likely wasn't a group I could kill in one life. But then, as Sir Grim falls, the door opens and we can go. I see. And they do more damage. Okay, cool, epic, amazing, wow. This thing can crit for 5k. That is more than what bosses deal. Another mini-boss, Lord Talthawil, accompanied by a healer and a tank. The healer, Sir Hammond, needs to die first, as otherwise they will actually heal the boss. I'm quite certain if Lord Talthawil had been the second boss instead of Lianen, we would not have made it this far. But as they fall, this time we can actually move on to the final boss. Okay, who here thinks we can clear in 11 minutes? Might as well watch the cutscene, it's not like we're in a rush or anything. Hello, insatiable flame Luigi. Scorching Left has Lugus charge their blade and slash half of the arena with flames. Otherworldly Heat drops a small amount of damage on its target with a burst of flames following in its wake. And Captive Bolt is a tank buster, dealing 13,000 damage before the boss begins casting Mortal Flame, a damage over time that burns away at my health forever. The only way to get rid of it is to pass it on to one of the pieces of furniture scattered around the arena. But these are in limited supply, so there are only so many flames we can take. Next is Fire's Domain. Lugus tethers itself to a target, then, when the cast completes, dashes towards them and swings its searing blade in a cone in front of where they landed. The dash does damage, and if you aren't far enough away when it hits, you get a vulnerability up debuff. Culling Blade is an AoE, dealing 5,700 damage and dropping 3 chandeliers. Then we're hit with another Mortal Flame. From this point on, Lugus will use Scorching Left or Right, Fire's Domain, Captive Bolt, Otherworldly Heat, and Culling Blade in that order. But after the first time, no other chandeliers fall from Culling Blade, nor does Lugus cast Mortal Flame. That is the entire cycle. Mortal Flame happens twice in the fight, then never again. Our only enemy now was time. Okay, we are failed. If it wasn't for those knights, I legitimately would have gotten it. We started the fight with 11 minutes left on the clock, and in that time, chipped Lugus down to 25% health. Meaning, rather than the 20 minutes I normally accounted for, the final boss of the Grand Cosmos would only take 15. So after reassuring ourselves that the only difficult part was the first boss and those ads at the end, we enter the Grand Cosmos one more time. Minutes. The Grand Cosmos is cleared. The first of 3 is complete, but there's no time to delay or celebrate. Anamnesis Anadir is unlocked next. I don't remember this dungeon. I don't remember this music, but I love this music. We're doing 3 dungeons today, before the trial I've been waiting 3 years to face. For both our sakes, I'm going to take us to the bosses and skip over the ads unless they're particularly difficult. Just remember, 65 minutes for boss 1, 40 minutes for boss 2, and we're cleared. Anything less than that, and it's a problem. Speaking of boss 1, Unknown stands before us. Fetid Fang is a tank buster dealing 10,000 damage. Scrutiny summons exploding orbs around the arena and spins a wheel. Whatever safe spot the pointer lands on gets cleaved by a thin conal attack. Luminous Ray hits everything in a line in front of the boss. Inscrutability is a raid wide that, instead of dealing damage, makes us bleed for 12 seconds. And then they print out another one of these dudes at the New Guy factory. It comes out swinging, immediately targeting us with a party stack, Ectoplasmic Ray, that deals 17,000 damage. Oh my god, he's actually real. Wait, what? Wait, that's a real second boss. Are you just gonna, like, go away in a second here, or... Oh my god, you are. Okay, alright. Wow, you're actually here. I was actually just thinking that this boss does unseasonably low damage, but I now see why. There are no more mechanics, but now we dance with these 2. Twice the auto attacks, Ectoplasmic Ray from one, Fetid Fang from the other. The only saving grace being with a second target in a release heals us for twice as much. And as the first one dies, we now only have half the mechanics to deal with. Or I was hoping that would be the case, if not for plain weirdness. As his partner dies, Unknown gets a damage up and takes on the abilities of the dead. At least we get them one at a time now. The damage up, thankfully, is minimal, and Unknown falls on the first attempt. As we enter Doxa, the Anadir Diviner summons a Cyclops, and the second boss battle begins. This is our favorite kind of boss. Final verse. Okay, we're already starting with the last attack, and we're dead. Okay, we died to the final verse. Congratulations. The final verse is a raid-wide dealing 7,000 damage, and then every other mechanic is dodging a big yellow circle. At least kind of. Terrible Hammer and Terrible Blade place their respective symbols on the tiles around the arena. 2,000 Mina Swing has us run away from the boss, and then the symbols explode in the order they landed. In this case, hammers, then blades. Raging Glower is a line in front of the boss, 200 Mina Swing is a cone in front of the boss, and then another final verse, and the hammer and blades repeat. I've genuinely noticed no difference with this mechanic the entire time it's come down. Is that supposed to be anything other than just stand on sword, then stand off of sword? Maybe it's random on order, but it's always been hammer. There's no way it would be random on order if it's this many times. Oh, wait a second. Oh my god, I'm just that statistically significant. For the first time in the entire fight, he has summoned sword first. How many cycles was that 50-50? Are you kidding me? Alright, it was good to see you, Cyclops. Learn how to spell your name correctly next time. Enidir diviners litter the path to the final boss, charging some kind of strange tube that, if the cast is allowed to complete, turns into more enemies to fight. Our failure to kill either before the cast finishes forces us into a huge group, but with enough preparation for the second set, things are easily handled. The last enemy falls with 26 minutes on the clock, and our battle with Ruxteam begins. Wood. Bonebreaker is a tank buster that deals 18,000 damage. Seabed Ceremony summons a strip of water in the center of the arena, and Depth Grip forces 4 claws to break through to the surface. After a brief delay, the claws charge forward, damaging anyone in their path and providing a vulnerability up debuff. Another Seabed Ceremony brings forth 4 Sahagin, each tethering to the matriarch and making her invincible to all damage until they're killed. During this, her attacks are limited to just tank busters, but tank busters and the auto attacks of 4 adds is no easy task to survive. As the last Sahagin falls, the invincibility clears and we can head on to phase 2. Please don't ever do that again. Depth Grip once more, but this time from both sides of the arena in a cascading line. As the first set dissipates, we have only a few seconds to reach the other side before the waves crash in behind us. Then she summons her adds again for yet another invincibility phase, and adds a party stack, Flying Fount, for 26,000 damage. That's everything. I've got no mitigations left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Both of the extra mechanics from this set only occur once. After that, it's back to just tank busters. Now the problem is time, as always. It takes an average of 2 minutes to get rid of the Sahagin, and so far, we've only gotten the matriarch herself down to 86%. 7 minutes into the fight, and we've only done 14% of the damage needed to clear. As of now, we're level synced. Everything seemed to be possible, but if those adds continued to appear, this attempt is dead, and there's absolutely no way to clear it synced. As one final kindness from her though, there would be no others. From here on, it was just 15 minutes of dodging her watery claws. By the skin of our teeth and the grace of Yoshi P, Anamnesis Enidir is cleared. A first try dungeon. We are cleared. Actual no death first try. Second dungeon down. Now the Hero's Gauntlet is the last thing standing in our way. Before you go, you need to do all the Hildebrand quests so you can appear in the dungeon? No, thank you. I don't think I will, actually. Imagine if the samurai had the instant kill move PvP one set. You know, I kind of feel like while it would be extremely unbalanced for us, they really should have given all the NPCs in here the PvP kits. I think that would have been hilarious. Or let us use the PvP kits in here because it's PvP. That would be so good. I wish. Throughout the Hero's Gauntlet, we're forced to deal with some friendly NPCs, but when dungeons force them in for story reasons, there's no real way to avoid that. At least after a while, they go away on their own. Just a bit further up the road, we reach the first boss, the Spectral Thief. Spectral Dream is a unique tank buster that hits us 3 separate times, each dealing 5,000 damage. Dash primes the thief for its next attack, a large AoE centered on the boss. With Dash's buff, the boss, dashes to the position they're tethered to, taking the AoE with them. Spectral Wind is a raid-wide, dealing 5,500 damage. Chicken Knife summons 4 knives around the arena, each shooting towards us after a short delay, and Dash evolves into Shadow Dash. Like before, whatever attack the boss uses will move with it, but this time, Shadow Dash creates a clone of the boss, leaving much less space to avoid it. With a quick end to their mechanics, the Spectral Thief falls, and we move on to the second boss. Joined by our fabulous Fey Frog friend, we reach the Spectral Necromancer. Unlike every other boss we've seen today, rather than starting with a tank buster and raid wide, we get straight to business. Absolute Dark 2 cleaves the arena with darkness, then Necromancy causes 4 shrouds of darkness to appear around the room. Each cloud becomes a necrobomb and tethers itself to me, chasing me down until its inevitable, gruesome death from the magic that summoned it. Necroburst gives them a purpose befitting their name, with each dealing 7,000 damage if you're close enough to be hit by it. Pools of rot and miasma close parts of the arena off, and necromancy is cast again to summon another necrobomb. This time though, they can only crawl towards us, slowly shredding their body on the tiles below. If it catches us, it grabs hold and gives us the Death Throes debuff, preventing us from moving and forcing us to tank a necroburst. From here on, she'll cast necromancy twice, first summoning the running necrobombs and then the shambling corpse after. The walking ones drop just as the crawlers begin to move, and if you avoid it for long enough, it rears up, dashes at you, and forces you into death throes. So long as we can properly manage where the corpses fall, this fight is simple, and we move on towards the final boss. A very comfortable 30 minutes remaining, we reach the last thing between us and the Seat of Sacrifice, the Spectral Berserker. He's pretty sick. I kinda love him. Beastly Fury is a raid-wide, dealing 8,000 damage. Wild Anguish is a party stack, and as if the Berserker thinks it's a trial boss rather than a dungeon boss, it hit for 25,000 damage through my defense and mitigations. It also provides a magic vulnerability up, but that only matters for people in parties who have to take 2 stacks. Raging Slice brings his blade crashing down in front of him in a massive line that provides a vulnerability up if you get hit, and Wild Rage has him crash down into the arena, carving out a piece of the earth and leaving a pile of rock beside it. Wild Anguish once again, but this time I can use the rubble as another person, having the damage we take. Then, Wild Rampage slashes the entire arena. The only way to avoid taking damage is to sit in the pit he made earlier. After 3 more Raging Slices, he takes another chunk out of the arena and casts Wild Rampage one more time. While in the pit to dodge it, we start losing our mind to madness. If we stay in too long, we go berserk, and all control is taken from us for long enough that it's a guaranteed death. One last Wild Anguish, and we enter the final cycle. Beastly Fury, Raging Slices, and Wild Anguish. Though we've no more rocks to tank it with, he doesn't attack us at all while charging his Raging Slice hits, so we have plenty of time to heal comfortably. This cycle continues until our inevitable victory. Hero's Gauntlet is complete. Absolutely fantastic. And congratulations to the believers, it was first try. These last 2 dungeons have been a victory lap. The threats were real, but nothing so strong as to block our way. But now, the time has come to face the foe I've waited 3 years to see. The final wall, the impossible boss, the one I would never make it past. Flooded with memories of the very first, when I stood beside other solos taking up my challenge and made it through the Crystal Tower, I have to finally give up my response. For so long, I've just said we'll see when we get there, when anybody asked what the plan was. But now, I'm here. We've gotten there, and we need to find a way through.
Champions from beyond the rift, heed my call. The time is come to deliver your brethren from darkness. My heart's sole desire is a world free of sorrow. Join with me now in hope and prayer for the salvation of all.
The battle with the Warrior of Light has finally begun.
If you would usher in the end, then with my all shall I oppose you. As the avatar of those mortal heroes who fought unfalteringly in all their imperfection, as the warrior of light incarnate. Come, warrior of darkness, let us finish this.
Solo only has reached the Seat of Sacrifice. We enter. Level synced on Warrior. The fight begins with Terror Unleashed. As the cast finishes, our health is dropped to 1, and we gain the true Walking Dead debuff. In 15 seconds, we need to heal for my entire health worth of HP or die. Then Solemn Confidier drops an AoE under us, summoning a blade from beneath after a short delay. Crescent Saber has the Warrior of Light raise their sword and resolves in 2 forms. If rings of energy appear around it, we need to be under him. If there are no rings, we need to be away from him. Absolute Fire 2 places a ticking clock above our head. When the circle is complete, we're given Pyretic, a debuff that damages you every time you move, attack, or auto-attack with it active. Absolute Blizzard 2 uses the same timer, but if you aren't moving when the cast completes, you're frozen in place and can't take any actions. This was the tutorial. From here, the Warrior of Light will imbue his blade with fire or blizzard and force you to resolve the element and Crescent Saber at the same time. Sword of Light darkens the arena and summons a blade at the center of the north wall. The blade slides across to both of the southern corners, then returns, forming a triangle of light and dealing heavy damage to anyone inside. During this, the boss casts Summon Worm, and a miniature Bahamut appears at the east or west side of the arena, cleaving anyone in front of it. Then, the bitter end Tank Buster hits us for 17,000 damage. Eldragon Dive is a heavy-hitting raid-wide, dealing 9,000 damage, and we're faced with his imbued Crescent Saber once again. 2 more Eldragon Dives, and another bitter end. Sword of Light is cast, and from here, the cycle repeats. The worst being the 2 Eldragon Dives for 20,000 damage, immediately followed by a Tank Buster. Outside of that, this fight was livable. We could handle this even without the Echo if I was careful about mitigations and healing. With the 10% Echo buff we had gotten for surviving so long, getting past our original death was easy. And the fight continues on just like this, until the Warrior of Light reaches 50% health and casts Ascendance. We are fettered and forced out of all existence. In an endless void, we're forced to struggle free in the most unforgiving quick time event in the entire game. A desperate fight to stay alive, to regain control. In a full party, if even a single person fails this, the entire instance dies.
It cannot be! To me, warriors of light! I am salvation given form. Mankind's first hero and his final hope. For victory, I render up my all.
In a rage, the Warrior of Light channels all his strength into the next attack. Limit Break 4. The only way to survive this is with the tank's Limit Break 3, which requires a full party of 8 people. We have done it. We've seen all of this fight, everything we could do, and we have hit the wall. But in that endless void of darkness, we were given a glimpse of light. 10% echo. That was all it took. In fact, I didn't even need that much. For some reason, the damage in this fight was very manageable. There were 2 major spikes, but other than that, he was weak. Warrior wasn't needed. A tank wasn't needed. There were other ways forward. Sage or Red Mage or... It'll take me a bit to decide finals, but I will clear this. We've got quite a ways to go, but solo only will be clearing Seat of Sacrifice. The first day comes to an end, and I head off to gather my thoughts. We had two options. Without any additional testing from the damage we were receiving, our best chance would be reusing one of the classes that had saved me before. Red Mage and Sage. As of now, Red Mage is level 70 and Sage is level 78. Before we could use either, they'd need to be level 80. Our first choice is Red Mage. If it ended up failing, the 2 levels needed for Sage could be done in around an hour or 2, so we'd start with the bigger time investment. Also, I do have a personal bias towards Red Mage. We'll be doing this through weekly challenge logs, Wondrous Tales, and Heaven on High. It's the final season, so I have to do it at least one more time. Wondrous Tales is a book provided by Chloe in Idleshire. 1 book per week, with an assortment of predetermined battles, dungeons, or raids to complete. Every time you complete a tile, you get a sticker on the bingo board to the right. Once 9 tiles are opened, the book is complete, and you can turn it in for your rewards. Right now, I'm on Merilith in Dynamis, so I have the Road to 90 buff. A buff that doubles all of my experience gains. So for me, a single turn-in of a Wondrous Tales book is a full level. Anyone without the buff only gets half a level, or I'll start only getting half a level once I hit level 90. We've gotten basically everything we could ever want from here, but the amount of lines you get from your stickers determine your prize. That was actually almost 3 lines! That's 1 off of the 3 line! No lines gets poetics and experience, 1 line gets a bronze certificate, 2 lines a silver certificate, and 3 lines a gold certificate. Each certificate can be traded in for items or equipment, with the most important to us being silvers and golds, our only source of level 100 gear. On average, we'll get a silver certificate every 10 Wondrous Tales, and even though I haven't exactly been at average this whole run, we have enough for the armor we've needed and some emergency certificates for the future. Through this challenge, we've seen the ups and downs of the Wondrous Tales book, all the ways it changed, all the hoping and pleading for luck, and now it's become nothing more than a means to gain experience. Yeah, you know, I don't think I ever went around anywhere else and saw this lighting in any other zone but the Crystarium. So this is a pretty unique experience. I will give it that. Our final boost of experience is my daily Allied Society quests from the Pixies in Ilmeg, the only combat society we have access to that gives a significant amount of experience, around 1.8 million per day. As the first day of the grind ends, we're 50,000 experience off level 74. 3 days and 2 sets of weekly experience boosts gets our first choice to level 80.
Stream is over. See you later, everybody. It has been a pleasure seeing you. I hope you had an absolutely wonderful day. I am going to go and play the video game Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, which just released today. I've waited years of my life to obtain this.
After a joyous day of making my little creatures, there's one more step before Red Mage can face the Seat of Sacrifice. We've gotten to level 80, but have no gear for level 80. The easiest solution is Tombstone gear, the strongest gear in the expansion, unlocked after clearing Hades. But a full set of Tombstone gear doesn't come cheap. Our wallet can't hold any more than 2,000 poetics, but to buy a full set of armor on its own, without a weapon or accessories, costs 2,055. We can buy everything but the gloves for now, and if we want a true full set of gear, it'll be another 1,000 for the accessories and 600 for a weapon. Blue Mage's Masked Carnival is a good source of poetics for now, giving us a nice bonus from completing the weekly targets. And any of the higher level challenges we haven't done before will get us a first time completion bonus. Gloves and weapon obtained, we need to search elsewhere for the rest of our gear. Just like in our battle with Hades, if we want to source better gear without poetics, our only choice is desynthing. The vendors in Crystarium sell armor and accessories that can't be obtained in Shadowbringers. Buying them and breaking them down into their basic materials allows us to sequence break a bit and craft the first set of gear from Endwalker early. But doing this requires a lot of gil. Each accessory costs 20,000 and the armor can be twice as expensive. Just over 500,000 gil left to our name, the accessories are made and our gearing is complete. Red Mage is ready to face the Seat of Sacrifice on level sync. Warrior before this had been taking around 5,000 damage from every auto attack. With a total of 30,000 health and the ability to heal myself with Vercure, Red Mage had a chance of surviving the onslaught. Outside of it being a DPS, there was one other detail for Red Mage that made it necessary for this fight, but we can talk about that once we get there. For now, we need to know if there's a chance for us to survive at all. Auto attacks now hit for 10,000 damage each, but with our backflip getting us enough distance from the boss, the first hurdle, Terror Unleashed, is cleared. Keeping distance and long cast times was our saving grace, leaving us with enough space to heal back up to full. But one slip up is all it takes to end the run. We were far too fragile to recover. Making it through the tutorial stage, we reached the Sword of Light, the deciding factor. If I could survive the onslaught of auto attacks and the tank buster afterwards, we had a viable path to clear. But we were nowhere close. 51,000 damage from the bitter end. Even at full health, with every mitigation I had, we'd die every time. Red Mage had failed to level sync, so we move on to attempts with the Epic Echo, a 30% buff given for entering a duty with unrestricted party and no other settings. This brings our health up to 39,000, but even still, we are crushed under the weight of the bitter end. Red Mage had failed entirely, just for lacking the health to survive. My dreams of the Red Mage clear are unfortunately a bit far off. So for that, we're setting up Sage for next week. And so long as I can get Sage ready to go, I think that should be another good shot, but we shall see. The difference in physical defense for casters was too large a wall to climb. Sage would likely have the same defense as Red Mage, but comes with one advantage: shielding. It's been a long time since we used Sage, but the only reason we were able to clear Balser's wall in Heavensward was because of that shielding. Rather than just focusing on getting your health back to full, shield healers like Sage and Scholar focus on giving you layers of extra health the boss has to break through first. So our final hope was being able to get enough shielding right before the bitter end to tank over 20,000 damage on its own, leaving us with enough health to survive. Sage was meant to be easy to prepare, which is why we did Red Mage first, but we're now faced with a problem I hadn't expected. Even if I got to level 80, all of my reserves of poetics were gone, and with the solo challenge's restrictions, getting more of them wasn't an easy task. We'd be given 500 a week from Chloe, and another 200 or 300 from Blue Mage, but that puts us 4 weeks out from even starting attempts. So we're convinced to Blue Mage once again, but this time for something different. If we could survive it, the Praetorium dungeon, cleared on level sync, rewards us with 150 poetics every time. We should realistically be able to clear every 30 minutes, maybe even less once we got used to it. Our next best option was Palace of the Dead, only getting us 30 tomestones every 15 to 20 minutes. But while most of the dungeon went by without issue, the final boss, Gaius von Belser, was a different story. A tank buster, immediately followed by a party stack, and we're forced into the stats we had in a Realm Reborn. This could be done, but was way too inconsistent to be worth it. We'd have to gear another way. Wondrous Tales and Challenge Logs get us to level 80, and the weekly Blue Mage target gets us a grand total of 1,250 poetics. Enough for a weapon, but nowhere near enough for most other things, so we need to desynth once again. Not just for the cheap items this time, for everything. But before committing, we needed numbers. With the normal quality gear on, our basic shield could crit heal for 5,000, and Sage's shield is 180% of the health it heals. And when Eucrasian Diagnosis crits, it doesn't just provide a bigger shield, it provides an entire second shield on top of it, equal to the first shield's health. That single crit shield, with no mitigations or buffs, was 19,994 health. This would be enough. I was going to commit everything I had left to gearing Sage. We had already spent 200,000 gil just getting one set for materials, so from here, we would need to pick and choose each individual piece we buy, hoping for the best chance at whatever material we need. Dark hempen cloth and gaja leather were exclusive to desynths, but dwarven cotton and sea swallow leather could be obtained elsewhere. Like it or not, we're at the mercy of a gacha machine. A gacha machine that really liked giving us dark hempen cloth. Even as of right now, oh, come on, please. This is really killing my finances. 4 extra dark hemp and some sea swallow leather we don't need, we've gotten the last material for my armor, the gaja leather, and can move on to accessories. That had cost me nearly everything, only leaving us with enough gil for 6 desynths. And to craft all my accessories, I needed 13 materials between the ametrine and hydurium nuggets. We were now flat broke. So broke that we stop in at Ul'dah and spend the allied seals I've been hoarding since A Realm Reborn on Aetheryte tickets, an item that removes the gil cost of teleporting. But our gear wasn't done, so we needed more funds, and there's only one way for a solo character to get money: farming the first area of the vault on Blue Mage. On a good run, it takes 55 seconds to kill every enemy before the first boss, getting us just under 7,000 gil. Every desynth costs us 18,000, so for 3 runs, we get 1 more material we might need. Oh, baby! There we go. Now we just need to meticulously plan each and every craft so I don't accidentally waste any materials and have to do more decenting. Thankfully, all of the crafts are the same level and difficulty, so we can make a macro that guarantees high quality every time, so long as I do it right. With the accessories done, we can move on to my armor. Dwarven cotton from Calusia and sea swallow leather from the Tempest gets us a full set of high quality left side armor, save for a chest piece, which we spend our last poetics on. It's far from perfect, so any failures we face now could be improved later, but in this moment, it was enough to begin. Our last hope, Sage, enters the Seat of Sacrifice, level synced. Healing would be much easier than on Red Mage, but dealing damage to the boss was a new problem. A problem I could worry about later. For now, we need to reach and survive the bitter end. Just like with Red Mage, each auto attack dealt 10,000 damage. True Walking Dead is cleared in an instant, but with no way to make distance from the boss, we'd need to tank autos much more frequently. At the very least, Eucrasian Diagnosis consistently cut auto attack damage to 6,000. Coruscant Saber is now a 25% chance for taking huge damage. Anytime we needed to stay under the boss and got stuck with Pyretic, we'd be forced to take an auto attack without any shielding and wait a full second before I could heal again. Then, the moment of truth, bitter end. 34? I don't think Haima went off. Okay, 34 plus Haima. That's doable. Unprepared, desperately hitting buttons, we had gotten this attack from 51,000 damage to 35,000. If I could pull 7,000 more health worth of shields, mitigation, anything, there was a real chance to clear this. There could be no reservation. Anything after bitter end could come later. I needed to survive just once, just to see it could happen. A food buff to increase my health just a bit further, and a plan in my heart. We face the bitter end one more time before giving up on level sync. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a shield. Please. No, too many autos. I think that kills it. Oh, okay. Absolutely everything went into that attack, but the most important was Zoe, an ability that increases my next healing spell by 50%. I crit for 10,000 health. The shield was more than double my health bar at 38,000. Now I just needed to survive long enough to reach the Echo buff. 1 Eld Dragon dive, an imbued Coruscant Saber, 2 more Eld Dragon dives, and then the second bitter end. There's no universe I love a second one. Please tell me that was enough. Please, 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 please. Yeah! That is a successful level sync Seat of Sacrifice Echo. I wasn't wrong. I can clear this level synced. A level 80 synced Sage. Let's prove I can take another. I need to know for sure that future tank busters, once I get enough echo, will be fine. Surviving in a trial for 3 minutes before dying grants 1 stack of the echo buff. Every stack increases my damage, healing, and max health by 10%, going all the way up to 50. Surviving until the second bitter end was long enough to gain the buff, and at 40% echo, we were strong enough to only need 1 major ability to survive the tank buster. We had a cycle of 3 that would keep us alive. Torkoal and Caracol provide a 10% reduction from all damage and can be used at every tank buster. Zoe buffed our healing as you saw before, and then there's Holos and Haima. Haima is another single target shield that automatically shields me up to 5 times if the first one breaks. This was the weakest and scariest tank buster to survive from raw numbers, but kept us safer after it resolved. Any shields that aren't used turn into a big heal at the end of its timer. Holos also provides a shield, but rather than healing me later, drops the damage of the Warrior of Light by another 10%. So long as I used them one at a time, we'd always have one available to mitigate the bitter end. This messy first attempt at a real pull started with 45 minutes left on the instance and died 20 minutes later. That had proved without a doubt that I could consistently survive the boss's attack cycle. The problem now was damage. In 20 minutes, I had only gotten the boss to 76% health, barely more than 1% a minute. Trials only give 60 minutes, and I had to spend the first 15 of them getting a full echo buff. but I had only been caring about healing. I had barely tried to fight the boss. I was rusty with Sage, and it showed in my missed damage over times and shields, but the rust was slowly crumbling away. One final try for this instance, with a 50% echo buff, the boss reached 61% health 12 minutes in before we met our demise. This time, it was 3.25% of the boss's health every minute. That means it would take nearly 15.5 minutes to reach phase 2. If we came in and were absolutely perfect, it would take us 46 minutes to kill phase 1 and phase 2. We'd need to make up about a minute or more getting better at DPSing the boss, but this was doable. Theoretically doable. Absolute perfection for 60 minutes straight, with a single mistake forcing us to restart the entire instance. Yes, that is one singular attempt per instance. 15 minutes of setup. We have to make sure we are dying exactly at 3 minutes when we will get the echo buff, and not a second later, to level sync the Seed of Sacrifice. As long as we kill the boss, it will automatically give us 10 minutes. But through all of this, there was one piece missing. Sage didn't have a way to survive the transition. Limit Break 4 would still kill us, no matter what, right? There was one way. The original purpose of Solo's Savior, and one of the most obscure mechanics in the entire game. Red Mage or Sage were our options because I believed they could survive the fight, and because they had a certain spell, Erase. A long cast that, as the name implies, allows you to revive a fallen party member. When a character is revived for 4 seconds, they're given an invulnerability as long as they don't take any actions to prevent you from being stuck in an endless cycle of death. But the Limit Break 4 from Seed of Sacrifice is a hard enrage. That means no matter what health you have, no matter your mitigations and defense, you will die if you fail the mechanic, and the screen will fade to black, meaning they completely ignore the invulnerability. Except there's one invuln they can't ignore. When you hit accept, your character's body teleports to the spot you were raised at, and then an animation begins bringing you back to life. There's a certain point of this animation where the game considers you to be alive, but to not have any health. If we can time it right, when Elidibus tries to hit us with Limit Break 4, it'll see we have 0 health, and so deal 0 damage, and since we're alive, the enrage is considered to be successfully completed. Hit it too early, and it'll hit through your invulnerability and kill you. Hit it too late, and the game will fade to black before the animation finishes. But once again, this is a dead end. All characters in the instance are brought back to life for the cutscene prior to LB4. So the only way to pull this off is to die between the quick time event and the actual cast. And there's only one class that can pull that off. The most powerful class in the entire game. A class we've never been able to actually use. Blue Mage. Using the self-destruct spell, we can die right before the attack begins, be raised by Sage, and then accept it at the perfect moment to skip the damage and make it to phase 2. Once phase 2 starts, we hit a checkpoint, meaning any deaths from there on let us restart past the limit break. This was our one and only option. We had seen nothing of phase 2, so as far as I knew, we may end up dead to some mechanic past this point anyway, but as of this second, as of this moment right here, Sage could clear the Seed of Sacrifice. It could be done, level synced, and the only reason we would need Savior is to skip the one mechanic we can't survive. All we need to do now is get everything ready on Savior to do it. We've got a particularly long checklist to fill, but the main needs are Blue Mage to level 80, an assortment of useful spells to clear the Masked Carnival with, and Erase, just in case I need to get Solo back up. While all this happened in the background, I took Solo for some more lone hero attempts to get the title we so desperately desire that we're going to choose to not talk about. And we're given a chance to join for something magical. Since my Solo Savior video came out, showing that I got to the end of A Realm Reborn and got the story skip to get past the Crystal Tower requirement, because the Solos haven't run a Crystal Tower raid in a very long time, they all got together to run one for all our newer players. And it was the perfect chance to get the clear we were missing. And getting another chance to see the people who fell in love with my challenge enough to run their own was an opportunity I didn't want to miss. But there's work to do, so we head to the Tempest to level Blue Mage. At the northern entrance to the Norvrent Slope sits little groupings of leeches and Cleonid, and once close enough, the Cleonid eats it and gives a massive burst of experience. From level 1 to 80 in around 10 hours. It was slow and tedious, but by far the fastest way to level. Now we're on to the worst part, the raise. The only raise a Blue Mage can get is Angel Whisper. Unlocking it requires we complete 30 stages of the Masked Carnival, or in other words, the entire carnival, and a large amount of the Blue Mage questline. Some of these fights are the absolute worst, but in the end, it took around a week to clear the entire set. With Angel Whisper unlocked, we were ready to begin. Solo Savior walks to meet us once more, and it's time to learn the rest of the fight. For Phase 1, Savior has no purpose, and this is the hard bit. Everything here is just the same as before. An intimate dance with death until we can gain enough echo buff to reach 50%. Once there, the real fight begins. But there's one tiny detail I forgot. Instances have an AFK timeout. If you don't take any actions for 10 minutes, you're kicked. So I needed to make sure Savior was doing something between pulls or in the middle of them to not get kicked out of the fight. To make things easy on myself, I'd have Savior start the fight by attacking the Warrior of Light with a damage over time, then abandon him for solo. At the very least, this meant I wouldn't have to worry about it while gaining the echo buff. Now we're at 50. I'll use one food for this instance. I just needed to properly manage all the tank busters, and we were home free. Slowly burning the Warrior of Light's health down, we reach 50%, and the moment of truth arrives. 17 minutes, Ascendance begins, and we're fettered once again. Savior is brought back to life for the quick time event, and it's a desperate race to keep both alive until... No. It's gotta be like every 2 seconds, every 1 second-ish at the end, and I need my mouse prepped to click. That's gonna be rough. An absolute disaster. But there was a way to get through this. Final Fantasy XIV is a very customizable MMO with multiple control scheme options. Now, duplicating my input is against the terms of service. If I was going to do this, both of the games needed to get unique button presses to keep them alive. And because of the 2 control options, we could do that. With a controller plugged into my computer, gamepad disabled on solo only, enabled on Savior, and set to allow input while the game isn't focused, I could simultaneously clear the quick time event, spamming the controller buttons for Savior on one hand and spamming the keyboard for solo with the other. But we've only got 17 minutes left, so we need to restart from 0. And this time, we'd be ready. Please, 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 please. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Oh, that hurt. Okay. All right. Now just get the timing right, please. Please get the timing right. I lose so much time to this cutscene. Please get the timing right. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
For victory, I render up my all.
Now all that's left is to self-destruct and revive at the perfect moment. Here, please. Too early. Oh, no, not too early. That's perfect. And with that eruption, we've successfully passed the checkpoint. Now things are exponentially harder. From here, I'll be controlling both Savior and Solo at the same time as we learn every mechanic. Imbued Blade from Phase 1, and then the main mechanic of Phase 2, Spectre of Light. This attack has 5 forms. First is Black and White Mage. The mages spawn at either side of the boss, and the Warrior of Light is locked in place. Meteors are called down, scattered around the arena, requiring 2 people to stand on them to prevent damage and a vulnerability up. But with one character using follow, the delay to get to each makes it nearly impossible to get them all unless we get lucky and they spawn right next to each other. Then it's followed by Caress and Saber and the elements from before. Another specter appears, the Dark Knight, placing 2 salted earths that expand and take an entire corner of the arena. Then Bahamut is called to destroy one side, leaving only a small safe spot and little time to react. And to finish things off, a party stack, Absolute Holy, hitting for 153,000 damage. Rezzing back and forth between Savior and Solo gives us an extra moment, but we're swatted down by an auto attack shortly after. Making our way back to the party stack with Savior alive, yet more luck is added to the fight. Absolute Holy wasn't just a party stack, it was also a flare. The closer the person targeted by the flare is to the group, the more damage it deals. And it was a 50-50 on which character got the party stack. This meant even with Savior alive, Solo would die if Absolute Holy targeted him. Right now, I was sloppy, dying every other second, taking too much damage, leaving Savior behind, and Vuln stacks from the meteors earlier pushing us to the brink. Our only real chance to see progress was to revive Savior after the party stack and hope That's what we're gonna do. And then Savior needs to be the one that lives, and I swap to Savior from there. I might have to main the blue mage from here. That's fine. But that wasn't working either. So I changed my focus to just staying alive and hope to get lucky with the flare and party stack. One of blue mage's most powerful spells, Diamondback, reduces the damage it takes by 90%. You're locked in place for 10 seconds, and it costs 3,000 mana, but it would guarantee Savior survives the party stack on his own. With no time to use it again before bitter end, Savior dies, but we're in a good enough state to be able to revive him and finally see the next mechanic, the hardest in the entire fight, to the limit. The Warrior of Light gains a limit break gauge, filling a bar for each mechanic. Limit break 1 is Radiant Braver, attacking 3 party members with a conal slash. Except that's with 8 people. With only 2, both characters were hit a random amount of times, up to 3. If Solo or Savior gets selected for all of them, they'll drop dead. Limit break 2, Radiant Desperado, is 2 consecutive party stacks that give a physical vulnerability up. If you tank 2 of them, you die. Both characters needed to be alive for this, and Solo only would be a sacrificial lamb to allow Savior to continue on. Death after death, 3 things started to become clear. Solo only needed to be alive for every mechanic into the limit. It was random chance if they could survive the party stack right before it, and Savior would be the main focus for this fight. I never mentioned it earlier, but the blue mage res I had worked so hard to get, Angel Whisper, had one massive flaw. Where normally you can use a res as many times as you want, Angel Whisper has a 286 second cooldown because of my stats. I could only raise Solo once every 5 minutes, so there would be no constant raising back and forth to reach the end. If Solo needed to be alive for a mechanic, he needed to survive until we got there. At this point, we realized there are some additional spells Savior can use to get through the fight more consistently, one of which is that eternal damage over time from earlier in the video, Mortal Flame. But the nerves are too much, and we can't get past the first boss of the Grand Cosmos. While we're on the topic of spells, we need to talk about Etheric Mimicry. For Solo only, there is no way for me to use Etheric Mimicry without targeting another player. Solo Savior is another player, but I have a very solid rule when using Savior. Savior cannot have anything that Solo couldn't get on their own. Since Savior can't get Etheric Mimicry on their own, it can't be used on Solo in the fight, so we would be stuck with a basic blue mage. Back in after a well-deserved break, we get a glimpse of just how lucky I had been the first time. No! Too early. 30 minutes gone to a failed res. But this had gotten us the exact timing we need. To survive, we need to accept the res as the Warrior of Light does the first slash of LB4. Yes! Yeah! Okay. Alright. Get the hit. One more time, Solo dies as the Dark Knight appears, but we res them right after the party stacks, giving them enough time to heal themselves and revive Savior for to the limit. LB1 is merciful, and with Diamondback active, Savior survives LB2. Now, Limit Break 3, Radiant Meteor, is the easiest of them all. A meteor is dropped on your head, only one per person, and though it takes up most of the arena with its impact, one attack is weak enough to survive. Afterwards, Sword of Light returns, this time forming 2 triangles and reducing the safe space in the arena, and after a slip to forgetting to move for Blizzard, we die once again. Truly, without exaggeration, every second of this fight, every inch was hard fought. The last blue mage mechanic we care about is Basic Instinct, a spell that doubles our damage, removes the damage penalty from our defensive spell Mighty Guard, and increases our movement speed. This spell can only be used when you're alone in an instance, so in this fight it wouldn't make a difference. Except it's a bit more specific than that. Basic Instinct can be used so long as Savior is the only one alive. So adding in a new layer of complexity, I'd need to activate Basic Instinct anytime Savior is the last one standing, and it would automatically turn off if Solo was ever rest. Reaching Sword of Light once again, we properly move to survive Blizzard and reach the 3rd Spectre of Light. The ninja creates a massive water geyser, pushing us across the arena, and follows it up with a party stack. Elidibus moves to a northern point to cast Coruscant Saber. With Diamondback locking us in place and Coruscant Saber being hide under the boss and move for Blizzard, we've no chance of making it. But we get a brief glimpse at the 4 worms the summoner brings after. An insane fight this is going to be. Okay. Using Solo to forcefully survive the party stack without Diamondback gets us through, and we're on to the final mechanics. The summoner brings worms that tether to us, sending out a massive conal attack after a delay. The Warrior of Light casts the bitter end, and the final Spectre, the Warrior, appears, splitting the arena into pizza slices. 4 segments are hit with each swing, and the elemental attack from imbued blade resolves. Tanking all of those hits with Diamondback allowed us to survive, but we ended up with 6 vulnerability up debuffs, making the Eldragon dive afterwards deal 24,000 damage. Another instance lost to time. Around an hour later, we get one more glimpse, but die in nearly the same spot. The worms were the end of our progress, and after 6 hours of fighting, it was time to end the day. We succeeded in everything that I wanted to today. We've made it to phase 2. We've made it the full cycle of phase 2. I know every single mechanic and the order that they happen in. Now I just have to come back and be better at it. I'm going to take the rest of this week to get some extra prep in for Savior. Off on my own, with no stream or the pressure of the Seed of Sacrifice weighing me down, we collect some new spells for our next attempts. Mortal Flame, a damage over time that will last the entire fight. Devour, a spell to temporarily increase my maximum HP. And Song of Torment for even more damage over time. I also needed to reorganize my bar. Blood Drain would be essential for this fight. Mana was one of our biggest problems with Diamondback being used so often, and every time we cast Blood Drain, we regain 500 mana. All of this would help to make runs more consistent, but when faced with a foe like the Warrior of Light, this was just a band-aid. The only solution was to practice, learn the fight, turn everything into muscle memory, and eventually get our clear. For our next day of attempts, I've got some new ideas to help things along. Firstly, the damage over time spells I just got could be used throughout phase 1 to speed up reaching phase 2 and give us more time to practice and get the clear. But using them throughout the fight meant keeping Savior alive the entire time, following me around like a lost puppy until it was time to refresh the dots. Second was the most important. At the end of the day last time, a group had gone in and timed the entire phase 2 cycle for me. We had in fact seen every mechanic, and then they repeat again in order. The entire cycle took just over 5 minutes, enough time for my res to be off cooldown and bring Solo back up for to the limit every time. But this would mean having to survive 5 to 10 50-50 chances of Solo getting the party stack, unless I didn't raise him until the limit breaks. To do that, I need to be able to survive 4 Vuln stacks from all of the meteors since we can't resolve them, get lucky with the side the worm decides to dash down, and live a party stack and tank buster back to back, all while taking nearly 50% extra damage. So first thing on the list was proving we could do it.
10k is fine. I just need to be using rehydration a lot. This is safe.
I had timed Diamondback poorly, making me use Swift Cast to survive the Tank Buster, but so long as I did that right, that was it. From here, I could revive Solo, tank the limit breaks, and do it all over again for every to the limit cast. No luck involved. And for the first time, without Diamondback, we survived the Warrior and Tank Buster and can see the very last mechanics. That's it. That's it. We made it. That's it. That's it. That's really it. Okay, I have to tank that Tank Buster without... But that works, and then I've got Devour as an extra as well on top of it. Okay. After an Eldragon dive and one more imbued blade, the Black and White Mage are summoned once more, and we have seen the entire cycle. Reses only last for 1 minute, so we use our raise on Solo right after the meteors resolve, set up our Diamondback for party stack, and accept the raise as soon as it's visible. That was everything we needed. Every mechanic had a specific, perfect solution. And so long as I could keep that up for 30 minutes straight, the clear was ours. One final addition later in the night, we craft Super Ethers, a 5-minute cooldown potion that restores 1800 mana. It wasn't great, but it would save us in an emergency. Theory crafting and planning was done. I knew what I had to do. There were no more excuses. The fight could be done and was planned down to the second. I just had to do it. With a heart full of hope and a desperate desire for victory, we enter the Seed of Sacrifice one more time. No way! What? Just kill the boss. Just kill the boss. Just kill. The seat of sacrifice is cleared. We're done. This was the last wall. There's nothing left. This is really it now. This is really the final season of Solo Only. The seat of sacrifice is cleared.
The rains have ceased, and we have been graced with another beautiful day. But you are not here to see it.
But not all endings can be happy. This was the first time we had ever gotten to use Blue Mage on Solo properly. That was for a reason. Blue Mage cannot progress the main scenario quest. And this is where I leave Solo Savior behind. Solo Savior was always intended for this singular purpose, to get me through the Seat of Sacrifice. And Blue Mage does not progress the MSQ. Maybe one day I will have to come back for you, Savior. But if everything goes well for the rest of this challenge, this would be our farewell. On the 150th attempt, my greatest foe and the final wall is cleared. There are 2 dungeons between us and Endwalker. Completing the main scenario quest up to 6.0 is our final goal. Welcome to the final season of Solo Only. And thank you for being here.